When God decides to restart your story from scratch, it's not because He's forgotten what you've experienced, but because He's about to show you that the past doesn't define your destiny. Sometimes everything needs to be deconstructed so that something new and eternal can be built. God isn't just erasing mistakes. He's redesigning your path with purpose, grace, and power. What seemed like the end is actually the starting point for a journey marked by miracles and restoration. Trust. The author of life is rewriting your story with chapters you never imagined you'd experience. If this word spoke to you, don't forget to follow the channel to continue receiving messages that edify and transform. The divine touch that transforms ruins into testimonies is living proof that God not only restores, but reveals purpose in the midst of chaos. That which seemed destroyed, worthless, and hopeless is precisely what He chooses to display His glory. God is not afraid of the rubble of your history. He uses it as raw material to build something that will impact lives. Your past is not a burden. It is a platform. And when He touches, even wounds become a source of healing for others. What was pain is now testimony. What was a fall is now grace. If this word edified you, follow the channel to continue receiving messages that strengthen your faith and renew your hope. God is writing a new chapter on the rubble of the past, and this chapter begins not with pain, but with hope. He doesn't ignore what you've experienced. On the contrary, He uses every detail, every tear, every silence as part of the narrative that will glorify Him. What was broken will not be swept under the rug, but will be transformed into testimony. God specializes in turning pages that seem too stained to be read. And when He writes, no error can resist the ink of grace. Get ready. The new chapter has already begun, and you are the protagonist of its restoration. If this message touched your heart, follow the channel to continue receiving words that lift you up and align you with God's purpose. God's hand is aligning what was broken, and this doesn't happen randomly. It's intentional, precise, and filled with love. What was shattered into 1,000 pieces, what seemed impossible to put back together, is being carefully reassembled by the potter's hands. He doesn't just glue the pieces together. He repositions them so that your life has more beauty, more strength, and more purpose than before. What was misaligned by decisions, trauma, or loss is being adjusted by a God who knows every detail of your being. And when He aligns, everything begins to flow. Peace, direction, healing, and renewal. If this word spoke to you, follow the channel to continue receiving messages that help you see what God is doing behind the scenes in your life. Your process is not the end, it's the beginning of reconstruction. It may seem like everything is falling apart, that doors have closed, that dreams have been postponed. But God sees beyond what meets the natural eye. He is using this moment as a foundation for something greater. The process hurts, confuses, silences, but it also prepares. God doesn't waste any season of your life. What seems like a detour today is actually the exact path to the destiny He designed. It's not the end. It's the construction site where heaven is working within you. And when everything is ready, you will understand that each step made sense. If this word touched you, follow the channel to continue receiving messages that reveal God's care and plan for your life. God is activating a new season in your life, and this doesn't depend on the circumstances around you. It depends on what He has already determined in heaven. There are times when everything seems stagnant, as if nothing is happening, but that's precisely when God begins to move the waters. The new season doesn't arrive with noise. It arrives with signs, doors opening, unexpected connections, peace in the midst of the storm. What was once a spiritual winter begins to blossom because God's timing is perfect. He doesn't just change the scenery, He changes you to live the new with maturity, faith, and boldness. Prepare yourself. What is coming is greater than what has passed. If this word spoke to you, follow the channel to continue receiving messages that help you discern the times and walk in faith. What seemed lost is being redesigned by heaven. God doesn't just recover what was lost, He transforms it. What slipped through your fingers, what seemed irreversible, is being reconfigured by a greater plan. Heaven doesn't work with superficial restorations, but with profound renewals. What you thought was failure, God is shaping as an essential part of your victory. He doesn't return what was taken in the same way. He returns it better, stronger, more aligned with His eternal purpose. What seemed like an end is becoming a beginning. What seemed like confusion is becoming clarity. Heaven is redesigning your life with strokes of grace and power. If this word spoke to you, follow the channel to continue receiving messages that reveal God's care and creativity for your story. God is restoring your essence, not just your circumstances. Sometimes what needs renewal isn't what's around you, but what's inside. He's going beyond the surface, touching areas of your soul that have been forgotten, wounded, or stifled by time. This restoration isn't just about getting you back to functioning. It's about getting you back to living fully. God is reactivating your identity, clearing the filters that have distorted your vision, and reigniting the fire that once seemed extinguished. What He's doing in you is deeper than any external change. It's transformation from the inside out. If this word spoke to you, follow the channel to continue receiving messages that help you reconnect with who God created you to be. Renewal has arrived. Your soul is being watered by grace. It's not just a change of scenery. It's an internal transformation that begins in the spirit and overflows into every area of your life. God is bringing freshness where there was weariness, hope where there was discouragement, and light where everything seemed dark. This renewal isn't temporary. It's the fruit of His presence within you. It's like gentle rain falling on dry ground, bringing forth dreams, faith, and strength. You're not just being restored, you're being revived. There's new life flowing within you, and it comes straight from the heart of God. If this word touched you, follow the channel to continue receiving messages that nourish your faith and strengthen your journey. God is rebuilding you from within before He acts on the outside. Sometimes we want to see external changes, open doors, visible miracles, immediate responses, but the process begins in the invisible. He is working in your heart, your mind, your values, your faith. Because when the inside is strengthened, the outside aligns naturally. God is not in a hurry, He is precise. Every internal adjustment He makes prepares you to sustain what is to come. It's not about appearances, it's about spiritual structure. And when everything is ready within you, what is external will transform as a reflection of the work that has already taken place within you. If this word edified you, follow the channel to continue receiving messages that help you grow from the inside out with depth and purpose. The promise still stands, and God is preparing the ground. Even when everything seems still, silent, or even confused, there is an invisible movement taking place. God hasn't forgotten what He promised you. He's simply organizing things behind the scenes so that when the promise manifests, you'll be ready to receive it. Sometimes the ground needs to be cleared, leveled, and tended, and this takes time. But it's not wasted time. It's time for preparation. What He spoke remains valid. No word of His returns empty. And when everything is aligned, you will see that every wait had a purpose. Every step was necessary, and every tear watered the soil of your victory. If this word strengthened, you follow the channel to continue receiving messages that remind you that God never fails and that the promise is still alive. God is awakening dormant gifts and rekindling forgotten purposes. What you thought was no longer valuable, buried by time, frustration, or opposing voices, is being reactivated by the Holy Spirit. There are talents within you that heaven has never given up on. Even if you have stopped believing, God has never stopped investing. He is breathing life into what seemed dead, rekindling the flame of creativity, faith, and courage. It's not too late. It's the perfect time. What was silent is about to resonate powerfully. You haven't been forgotten. You've been reserved for this moment. If this word has awakened you, follow the channel to continue receiving messages that rekindle what God has planted in you. God is silencing the noise so you can hear direction. Amidst the rush, the external voices, and the confusing thoughts, He is creating an environment of spiritual stillness to align you with heaven. God's silence isn't absence, it's strategy. It's in this place of apparent pause that He reveals the details, the adjustments, the next steps. Don't be frightened by the silence. Embrace it, because it's in it that you'll hear what truly matters. God is teaching you to discern, to trust, and to walk more deeply. Noise can distract, but silence reveals. If this word brought you clarity, follow the channel to continue receiving messages that help you hear God's voice even in the quietest moments. God is teaching you to walk by faith, not by sight. In times when everything seems uncertain, He is inviting you to trust in the invisible, to move even without visible guarantees, to believe even when signs seem absent. Faith is not the absence of doubt. It is the decision to trust even in the face of it. God is training you to depend on Him, not on circumstances. And the more you surrender, the more He reveals. The walk of faith is where miracles happen, where the impossible becomes reality, where heaven manifests on earth. You are not lost. You are being guided along a path that only faith can see. If this word strengthened you, follow the channel to continue receiving messages that help you walk with confidence even when your eyes cannot see.